UEF Rescue and Tow Operation. A United Earth Federation response record. The colonial world of Erebus-Nine was never meant to be dramatic. It was a quiet planet, moderate gravity, wide oceans. Slow winds, a place chosen specifically because nothing extreme ever happened there. Its orbital charts were clean, its traffic lanes were predictable. Its defense posture was minimal by design. Erebus-Nine existed to grow food, fabricate components, and raise families far from the noise of core systems. And for 32 standard years, it succeeded. Nothing suggested that, within minutes, the system would be pushed to the edge of disaster. The cargo carrier Ardent Reach, a civilian heavy-haul vessel, exited warp at the outer edge of the system. The transition was incomplete. Warp collapsed cleanly, but the engines did not recover. Primary propulsion failed to spool. Secondary systems responded too slowly. The ship emerged powerless. With no thrust and no maneuvering authority, the carrier began drifting inward slowly at first, then steadily, pulled toward the planet by natural gravity. The crew reacted immediately. Ardent Reach is an industrial carrier. Hull length exceeding 4 kilometers. Mass dense enough to distort Erebus-Nine's orbital balance. The ship was not under enough thrust, it was falling. On the bridge of the Ardent Reach, warning systems lit up in cascading alerts. It carried heavy infrastructure modules bound for orbital expansion. Habitat rings, fusion stabilizers, planetary comm relays. Its engines were designed for sustained thrust, not emergency burns. And now, they were silent. Gravity does not care about intentions. It does not negotiate, it does not hesitate. The carrier's mass began to pull against the planet's orbit, subtly at first. The crew was trying everything they could. Power was rerouted, control authority was reassigned. Emergency thrusters fired briefly, then went silent. The ship refused to answer. The captain initiated distress protocols. A tight beam signal was transmitted on all emergency channels. No exaggeration, no dramatics, just coordinates, status, and one clear message. Total propulsion loss, collision trajectory confirmed. Crew continued fighting the ship, making corrections where possible, slowing what they could, but the vector held. Time was not on their side. On the planet, sensors detected shifts in atmospheric pressure. Colonial engineers noticed strain in ground-based structures long before anyone said the word impact, because this would not be a crash. It would be worse, a slow gravitational drag. A partial atmospheric entry, a hull breakup that would rain megaton-scale debris across half a hemisphere. The colony would not be destroyed instantly, it would be erased gradually. Emergency protocols escalated automatically. Civil evacuation procedures were prepared but not executed. There was nowhere to send 2 million people fast enough. Distress signals were broadcast across all secured UEF channels, and within minutes, a response was already inbound. The UEF Navy patrol frigate Aegis-203 exited warp at the edge of the system. A medium-class patrol vessel, not designed for towing capital ships. Not equipped with mass stabilizers rated for planetary gravity wells. But it did not hesitate, because hesitation is not part of protocol. The frigate's commander assessed the situation in seconds. Trajectory calculations were brutal. The carrier's velocity was increasing, its engines were unresponsive. Its structural integrity was degrading under uneven stress. If nothing intervened within 12 minutes, Erebus-Nine would experience irreversible damage. The Aegis-203 moved in, magnetic grapples extended. Structural clamps engaged with emergency hardpoints along the carrier's spine. The frigate fired its engines at maximum sustained thrust. For a moment, the carrier slowed, just slightly. Enough for sensors to register hope, then gravity pushed back. The planet's pull increased as the carrier descended further into the well. The frigate's engines strained past recommended limits. Thermal alarms triggered but were manually overridden. Still, the mass differential was overwhelming. The Aegis-203 was being dragged with it. At 04:09 orbital time, the frigate transmitted a single priority signal. No distress language, no dramatics. Just data, mass, velocity, failure projections, and a final line appended by the tactical system. Additional thrust required immediately, the system answered. Two warp signatures bloomed into existence beyond Erebus-Nine's moon. Not patrol craft, not escorts, fleet-grade vessels. The UEF heavy cruiser Sentinel-41 arrived first. Its warp exit was clean, its vector precise. Its engines already spooling before real space stabilized. Seconds later, the UEF battle support ship Atlas-09 followed. A ship built for one purpose, moving things that do not want to move. There was no discussion, no debate, no command theatrics. The response was procedural. The Sentinel-41 aligned itself opposite the carrier's descent vector. Its mass stabilizers deployed, anchoring against the planet's pull. The Atlas-09 moved beneath the carrier's gravity shadow, positioning itself where thrust would matter most. Magnetic clamps locked on, reinforcement tethers extended. The three UEF ships now formed a single structure. And then, they burned. Engine output across all vessels surged beyond peacetime thresholds. Plasma exhaust lit the void like artificial dawn. The combined thrust pushed back against gravity itself. The carrier resisted, its mass fought every meter gained. Structural stress echoed through its hull. Debris sheared free and vaporized in atmosphere above. But slowly, painfully, the descent stopped. For 7 full minutes, the ships held. Not advancing, not retreating, holding. Then gravity lost, the carrier began to rise. Centimeter by centimeter at first, then meters. Then finally, clear of the planet's critical pull, atmospheric sensors across Erebus-Nine normalized. Ocean swells stabilized, ground structures relaxed. A disaster that had been unfolding silently simply stopped. The carrier was not saved, not fully. Restart attempts had failed, permanently, its hull fractured beyond safe operation. But it was alive long enough, and that was enough. The combined UEF task group towed the carrier into a stable parking orbit far from the colony. Emergency crews boarded, containment fields engaged. Hazardous modules were jettisoned safely into the star. No explosions were broadcast, no victory announcements were made. Because this was not a battle, it was containment. Erebus-Nine never fired a weapon, never activated its defense grid. Most colonists never even knew how close they came. They would read about a temporary orbital incident in the following week's bulletin. Life would continue, which was the point. The UEF ships departed without ceremony, no parades. No commendations broadcast to civilian channels. Just another entry logged in a long list of incidents prevented. Somewhere in the archives, the event was classified as orbital collision risk neutralized. No mention of fear, no mention of risk, just outcomes. Because the United Earth Federation does not exist to be seen. It exists to ensure that planets like Erebus-Nine remain quiet, unremarkable and safe. End of record. Stay subscribed for more from the United Earth Federation logs.